Here are the top 10 companies who are making vaccines or medication for coronavirus, COVID-19. At this moment, most promising vaccine is from number 10 in this list. They have already started making 1 billion vaccines and ready for general public by September if human testing is successful. Moderna. Type: RNA-based vaccine. Name: mRNA-1273. Moderna Inc. In January to develop an mRNA vaccine against COVID-19. Moderna said they shipped the first batch of mRNA-1273 to the NIAID for a phase 1 clinical trial. On the clinical trial, first patient received the vaccine on March 16. Study expect to enroll 45 adult patients who are COVID-19 free and healthy, where age range between 18 to 55. The trial is expected to conclude in June 1, 2021. This will conducted at Kaiser Permanente Washington Health Research Institute in Seattle. A phase 2 trial is expected to begin in the second quarter. Moderna said it will receive $483 million in BARDA funding to vaccine development program. Moderna said they believe they could be able to supply millions of doses a month in 2020 and with further investments, tens of millions a month in 2021, if the vaccine candidate is successful. Johnson & Johnson. Type: vaccine. Johnson & Johnson announced February 11 that it was working with BARDA to test its vaccine candidate, with each party providing $1 billion for research and development and the public health organization funding the phase 1 trials. On March 13, J&J said it started preclinical testing on multiple candidates in collaboration with Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, and by March 30 it had identified a lead vaccine candidate. The company said it is scaling up its vaccine manufacturing capabilities in the US and abroad as part of its commitment to bring an affordable vaccine to the public on a not-for-profit basis for emergency pandemic use. The company aims to put its lead vaccine candidate in a phase 1 clinical trial in September, the company said March 30, and it may have investigational doses of the vaccine available by early 2021 for emergency use. BioNTech and Pfizer. Type: mRNA vaccine. Name: BNT162 program. Pfizer Incorporated announced March 17 it would help develop and distribute BioNTech SC's COVID-19 vaccine candidate, though the deal excludes China. The 360 patients in the US trial had started to receive the first doses of the 4 vaccine candidates included in the study as of May 5. Dosing in 200 participants in the German trial began April 23. Michael Dalston, Pfizer's chief scientific officer, said the companies expect the first round of trial data in May or June, with the vaccine candidate moving into expanded trials that could allow emergency use or accelerated approval coming in the fall, possibly October. GlaxoSmithKline. Type: vaccine, treatment. Name: AS03 adjuvant system for vaccines. GlaxoSmithKline is another leading vaccine maker, having brought to market vaccines for human papillomavirus, HPV, and the seasonal flu, among others. It has announced a string of wide-reaching collaborations during the pandemic, most notably a deal with Sanofi to jointly develop a vaccine candidate. As part of this agreement, Sanofi's S-protein COVID-19 antigen will be paired with GlaxoSmithKline's adjuvant technology. The companies expect to launch clinical trials in the second half of the year. Terms of the agreement are expected to be completed this month. Amgen and Adaptive Biotechnologies. Type: antibody treatment. The very early stage collaboration between Amgen Incorporated and Adaptive Biotechnologies Corp seeks to discover antibodies that can be used to prevent or treat COVID-19. Financial terms of the exclusive collaboration will be completed in the coming weeks, the companies said April 2nd. There may well be more than one generation of antibody therapeutics entering the clinic, Amgen R&D EVP David Rees told investors on an earnings call. Amgen will test Otezla as a COVID-19 therapy treating respiratory distress in late-stage patients, with the company saying April 30th that it plans to put the oral psoriasis drug into trials in the coming weeks. Gilead Sciences. Type: Treatment. Stage: Emergency Use Authorization. Name: Remdesivir. Gilead Sciences Incorporated is a longtime drug maker best known for developing the first major cure for hepatitis C. The company has experience developing and marketing HIV drugs, including Truvada for pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP, its preventive HIV medicine. It received an emergency use authorization from the Food and Drug Administration in the U.S. on May 1 based on preliminary results from 2 clinical trials, one conducted by the NIAID, and one by Gilead. In the NIAID trial, COVID-19 patients taking the drug had a median recovery time of 11 days, compared with 15 days for those patients taking placebo. NIAID Director Dr. Anthony Fauci has said the drug is now considered the standard of care. However, other experts have had mixed responses to the data. Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. Type: Prevention and Treatment. Name: RegCOV2. On February 4, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals Incorporated announced it is working on developing monoclonal antibodies as treatments for COVID-19. The company's VelocImmune platform uses genetically engineered mice with humanized immune systems in preclinical testing. We are aiming to have hundreds of thousands of prophylactic doses ready for human testing by end of August, a spokesperson said. Christos Kyritsis, Vice President of Infectious Disease R&D and Viral Vector Technology, is running the project. Clinical trials are expected to begin in June. Cytodine. Type: Treatment. Name: Lirenlimab. Cytodine Incorporated, a preclinical biotechnology company based in Vancouver, is testing its experimental drug lirenlimab in 2 types of COVID-19 patients. The investigational therapy hasn't been approved for any indications. For COVID-19, it is being proposed as a treatment for mild to moderate respiratory complications that occur in patients with the disease as well as severely and critically ill patients. The randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study will test the efficacy and safety of lirenlimab in 75 patients. Roche. Type: Treatment. Name: Actemra. Roche Holdings, Actemra was first approved in 2010 as a rheumatoid arthritis drug. The Swiss drug maker has initiated a Phase 3 clinical trial evaluating Actemra as a treatment for patients with COVID-19 who have been hospitalized with severe pneumonia. Roche began enrolling around 330 patients in early April, at 55 sites in the US and elsewhere in the world. The company plans to examine patient mortality and need for mechanical ventilation or an intensive care unit stay among other primary and secondary endpoints. On April 3, the first patients in the trial, which is in partnership with BARDA, were treated, a Roche spokesperson said by email. Results are expected in early summer, the company said April 22. AstraZeneca. Type: Vaccine. The vaccine was developed by Oxford University's Jenner Institute, working with the Oxford Vaccine Group. They have already teamed up with one of biggest vaccine makers in the world, Serum Institute of India, for 1 billion doses, and still human trials are on the way. Testing of the experimental COVID-19 vaccine began in April with a study involving over 1,000 healthy volunteers in Britain aged 18 to 55. Another round of testing with 10,000 volunteers began last month, May.